The following is a message from N.A. Poe and Adam Kokesh from inside the Federal Detention Center in Philadelphia.
The Panic Hour and Adam vs. Man are proud to announce Smoke Down Prohibition Part 6 at 3:30 p.m. on June 8th, featuring a moment of cannabis reflection at 420 on the north side of the White House to demand a joint summit with President Trump and to demand an end to the criminal insanity of the drug war in America.
Please RSVP to the Facebook event page linked below to spread the word and share the video. As political prisoners, we may not be there in body, but we will be there in spirit.
Choom choom, motherfuckers.
Choom choom.
Caviar is bud that's been dipped in a honey oil and then that's been rolled in peach.
I can't do my dancing anymore, otherwise my pockets will get really wet.
Was immediately drawn to a more adventurous lifestyle.
That on his 27th birthday, we would honor his and celebrate his life, as well as say goodbye, see ya.
Imagine if you can, however, in the midst of such unbearable grief, in the middle of their deepest sorrow and struggling to cope with their loss, they receive word that someone's planning to picket the funeral of their son and even make their day worse.
My casualty affairs officer had pulled me aside as soon as I landed, and he said there's a chance that there will be some protesters at Brennan's funeral.
In Kansas, there is a radical and extremely misguided group of fanatics that twist a Bible full of hopes for their own demented purpose. They travel to the funerals of our war fallen, our American heroes, proselytizing their perverted and twisted truth. These protesters use the backdrop of the broken and the service of those who sacrificed everything as a platform for their message of hate.
Everything I stood for, they were coming against. Everything this young man stood for and gave his life for, they mocked.
It was another surreal moment of who would protest a funeral.
It was really upsetting to know that someone would want to come and disrupt our special time to say goodbye to our son, who was fighting so that they could have the freedom to come and picket.
I knew I wasn't going to probably go out there and start busting some heads, but I was going to do everything I could to make sure that that didn't happen.
And I could see across the way a few of the people with their signs, and just down the street, I heard this sound. When I saw them, I was overwhelmed by the fact of the cavalry's here.
It was just absolutely wonderful to see them ride up on their motorcycles with their flags.
I've seen a lot of great things. I can tell you this is right up there, because on their faces was the look of, we'll take care of you. We've got this thing covered. And they did.
I probably would have gone to jail that night. I don't know what I would have done, but it wouldn't have been good.
You want to go, and you want to go hit them or do something violent to them. But at the same time, you know you can't. You know that it's the antithesis of what we're supposed to do.
You know, they're out dying so that we can enjoy what we're doing at home. You know, and the least we can do is be there for the families.
Everything these guys stood for was that this young man, in this case that day, Brennan Gibson, was going to be treated and was going to be honored in the way that he should, and there would be no interruptions.
The Patriot Guard Riders were formed in response to that to shield the family from these people, shield them physically with our bodies and our flags.
If they get too loud, fire up a couple motorcycles, shuts them right down. Now, obviously, that's the way to do it. And what that is it's a very powerful thing to do, to nullify idiots like that.
These rough and even tougher looking guardians come from every walk of life imaginable. With over 186,000 members nationwide and climbing, they are motivated by a sense of fairness and hell-bent on ensuring that those who have paid the ultimate price of freedom receive the funeral and respect they deserve.
We've been out here when it's been below freezing. We've been out here in the pouring rain, the snow, the sleet, wind blowing. We feel that it's the least that we can do for what they've paid.
to have an organization like this there for families of fallen service people is a godsend.
There's a lot of interesting reading that's available on the net, and I highly recommend that everybody familiarize themselves with the condition, because it's only a matter of time before you or somebody you love ends up being affected by them, if not individually and personally, then on the macro social level where they're bleeding our economy dry and you're out of a job and you don't really understand why. It's kind of thick reading, but it's a really good topic and explains how they're able to co-opt ideologies in groups. And Andrew Leszewski, the author, was a student researching psychiatry in Poland when the Nazis took over in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and he cataloged what was happening from that perspective. So he noticed that some people were able to see through it and see that it was just like false logic and lies, but a large group of people actually imbibed the ideology and kind of made it their own and became little psychopathic tools themselves. He also explains that this is how Nazi Germany was able to get away with executing millions of people because they can co-opt the whole country, basically, the political structure, and effectively push their ideology to control large groups of people. Do I think that's what's happening in America today? And I think Nazi Germany kind of seems like almost like a trial run. Like they tried it and they kind of failed because they were a little too overt. Today it's much more covert. They have much broader reach with network television and the mainstream media, which seems to be effectively controlled by the military-industrial complex and other financial interests. There's lots of interesting studies that show the concentration of power and wealth in the hands of very few people, and when that happens and they want to stay on top, they're willing to do anything, to go to any lengths to stay there. And I think that's basically what's happening in America, except we don't have enough awareness of psychopathy right now. We don't understand that they can be politicians, they can be CEOs, they can be religious leaders, and so many people just want to follow someone. They want to follow an ideology, and they don't have the time or the discernment to see through the lies and how they're actually being used to effectively control or combat normal conscience-filled human beings. So if we keep going down the path we're going, I don't think we'll be able to have things like this. We're going to end up with concentration camps or worse. But what really keeps me up at night is just the idea that sooner or later, they're going to win. And I think the only way we can stop that is by spreading information about what kind of people they are, how they operate, what their weaknesses are, and that's really our only shot at beating them. It's like David and Goliath, because we don't have money, we don't have resources, but we have knowledge and truth. So that's what I'm trying to use. That's why I come down here.
Strange things are happening in my brain. Hey, Balloon. So you can't tell if I'm back and I'm just feeling normal shit and like, oh, I'm hungry, I want to go eat something. Or if I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Like my relationship with reality is still totally tweaked. That's the only way, but like, fuck. I'm cold and I'm hungry and I'm tired. I have no idea what is going on. I can't tell if I'm not normal. I guess if I have to question if I'm still high or not, I'm still high. What the hell do I do with my brain.
If you're asking that question, you're still high.
But I'm like, I feel like I'm on it.
Is that a bigger question?
End.
Like, what do you do with your
What is
brain
the meaning
now?
of life?
Or ever? Because ever is a question that only you can answer for yourself.
How should we live? Wow. Now I have to conclude this video and I have to say something. And I don't know what to say. Like, because I'm.
Would you encourage other people to?
You're full of beans and so's your old man. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Says who? Says me. Oh, yeah? Yeah! I double dare you.
The exact exchange and nuance of phrase in this ritual is very important.
Are you kidding? Stick my tongue to that stupid pole, that's dumb. That's because you know it'll stick. You're full of it. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Well, I double dog dare you.
Now it was serious. A double dog dare. What else was left but a triple dare you? And finally, the coup de grace of all dares, the sinister triple dog dare.
I triple dog dare you.
Schwartz created a slight breach of etiquette by skipping the triple dare and going right for the throat.
All right, all right. Yeah, of course. Come on, Karen. Well, go on, smartass, and do it. I'm going.
Flick's spine stiffened, his lips curled in a defiant sneer. There was no going back now.
This is nuts. Stop. Stop. Stop! 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 It really works. Look at it. What are they Come back. The bell rang. But what are you gonna do? I don't know. The bell rang. Yeah. Come back.
Objection! This is a bad idea. Objection! This is a bad idea. Objection! This is a bad idea.
Here is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle. Bye-bye.